My next stop on the history of Magic is Innistrad. This is Midnight Hunt, but there's also another set called Crimson Vow that was released at about the same time, around Halloween 2021. And the lore on both of them is that we return to this iconic Gothic horror plane, which is a specific Magic the Gathering, like the worlds and the different parts of Magic the Gathering are considered to all be different planes of existence, basically. And this was just after a Dungeon and Dragons set was released, which I'm a big fan of Dungeon and Dragons, so that was kind of cool. Unfortunately, don't have any of those packs here to open and explore that with you. But there's also the Universe Beyond, which is where Dungeon and Dragons was kind of set because it has its own thing. All these sets that are what we consider Universe Within is like they're the main sets that are like standard legal and all this kind of stuff, Pioneer legal, and the Dungeons and Dragons set that came before this particular Innistrad set is apparently Universe Within. I actually didn't realize that, but because they have another Dungeons and Dragons set that must be Universe Beyond, which means they're acknowledging that it's not quite within the storyline of Magic the Gathering. And when you look through the cards, you just kind of have to understand that that is not like normal, standard, regular Magic, and it allows them to kind of have some fun with cards. And we'll see more of that. I have some of those available that we'll look at throughout the series. But with Innistrad Midnight Hunt, I have only a single draft booster, which is drafts, again, are the cheapest cards. They do change from draft booster. It changes the verbiage periodically throughout this, but because there was draft booster and set booster. Set boosters are a little more valuable. They're usually a couple dollars more, but eventually they change it to a play booster. And play boosters, there's no more draft, there's no more set. It's just all the same thing. And we'll talk about more eventually. But talking about Innistrad Midnight Hunt, you can have the like werewolfy Midnight Hunt sets, or you can go more vampire-y with Crimson Vow. It was kind of like werewolves versus vampires. So we're going to get the pack axe ready to break this open. Now, if you saw my Chaos box, you also know that I had a promo card, and the promo card does belong in this set. I looked it up. With the promo foiling and everything super fancy, it is a 50-cent card. So again, even though it's rare, not crazy valuable, so it does not do much to boost the value of that Chaos box. But I'm going to include it with our Innistrad storyline and see if it helps us tell the story through what we have for this pack and what cards are inside. There's a couple of good cards here, but the values have changed so much that I'll need to pause and see where they're at. I had a card recently that was worth like, I don't know, something well over 50 bucks that ended up down closer to $10. One interesting thing is you may have seen in the last video that we did get some cards that kind of like have blanks where you can fill stuff in, and it does have these double arrows. Kind of lets you know like if you're doing something more like reverse side. These have changed on this new set, and now there's sun and night. So the storyline behind this particular realm is essentially that Magic's returning to the horror plane, focusing on humanity's struggle to survive as a natural day-night cycle breaks down. So there's a whole set of rules around day or night that only applies if you have a card that causes it to become day or night. If those cards haven't been introduced, then that specific mechanic doesn't apply in that game. So you can play, and I've played many full games where day-night never becomes a factor. But if you have cards that things change, whether it's day versus night, you can make notes on these and then have them available for that game. All right. Now, I don't know the order of the cards in this pack. I might open up to a Mythic. We'll see. Again, they change based on what set it is. I did not keep up with all that, but here's the day card. I did not know that I have one. This may actually be my first day-night token. The back side is night. So it explains the rules of these. I don't think I actually have one of these, so that's kind of cool that I have one. Very, very little value, but I don't need to search them. The basic lands in this particular set, I think, are some of the coolest lands in Magic in terms of basic lands. Whenever you see a card, though, that comes up like this, where there's this cool symbol and fully different set, this is going to be a Planeswalker. All right, Planeswalker are special feature cards that just, they have their own rules in Magic, and I get excited about Planeswalkers. They were one of the coolest things when I opened one. I was like, what is this? This is so cool. It's so different than the other cards. And let's see who we got here. I can tell it's going to be blue, and I believe probably white. Who do we have? Teferi. That's one of the big names in Magic. This one's going to be worth looking up here. Teferi, who slows the sunset. So most Planeswalkers are going to be in the realm of mythic rarity. There may be some rare Planeswalkers, but from my memory, most of the ones I find are mythic. I found this one to be about $5.50 for this one card. So if the pack is worth $5 to begin with, not only do I have the token I need and a cool land, I now have a card that if I could get close to resale value, I could get my money back for this pack, which I'm pretty sure this is the pack that I won on Whatnot at no cost, so it didn't cost me anything, but it'll definitely make up for the packs that I opened in my last Zendikar Rising video, where I did not make any money. But this one, kind of cool. There's not a lot storyline, but I do want to see in what it does. We get to choose targets and untap. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom. That could be really cool. And then get an emblem with untap all permanents you control during each opponent's untap step, and you draw a card during each opponent's draw step. Ooh, I really like that. So the thing about the emblems is they remain in the game the whole time. So no matter what else happens in the game, those emblems always stay. It'd be interesting to see. There may be I know there are cards that say destroy permanents. Do emblems count as permanents? I believe they do, but I don't actually know. I would need a Magic the Gathering referee or someone who wants to Google that for us. Let us know. Can a card that says to destroy target permanent, can you target an emblem with that? Interested. All right. But yeah, that's cool. So that card's well worth my time there. I'm happy to sell any of these cards. If you see one, you're like, oh, I absolutely need that card, definitely message me. But yeah, also, I'd be more than happy to list some of these on Whatnot. That's where I got most of my cards from. So let's see. This one is Overwhelmed Archivist. This is a double-sided card. Okay, so when you read through how it works, he's going to be able to, you may cast this card from your graveyard, transformed, and for its disturbed cost. So it has different costs on it, so that's how this one works. But I want to look at the flavor text. Bah, as if I had time to preserve everything. So, oh, yeah, this guy definitely being overwhelmed. He runs out of time. And then, so the idea is you play him, he dies, and then you can pay this and bring him back, where it's the Archive Haunt. That's cool. Cleaning up his life's work was his afterlife's work. That's funny. I find that really entertaining. So this guy is alive in this dark, terrifying time and dies. And after he dies, he comes back to clean up what he did. That's kind of funny. Kind of like that's a rough afterlife if your entire afterlife was having to clean things. That's funny. All right, this is Neurosynthesis. This is an uncommon. This has a lot of text. I'm not going to go through that all right now, but it also gives us no flavor on what's going on there. We got Valdron Ambusher. Great flavor text being gotcha. Very fun. All right, cool. If you really want to go through some more of these, how the cards work, we can talk about those. Again, my focus is, are we hitting the storyline? Whenever we see that sun or moon thing up here, I know there's a backside component of it. So let's see. If you're lost in a storm, follow a griff. They always know which way calmer waters lie. They always know which way calmer waters. I'm having a hard time with the whole speaking part of this. So yeah, we have a Glad Rifter. So in a storm, we want to follow a griff. They always know where the calmer waters lie. So that's great for a blue card. Now, we can, again, same thing, Disturbed is that function. Each set has a mechanic, and Disturbed is the mechanic, it appears. I was not big in this set when it came out. I wasn't even playing yet. I joined just after this set came out. But the idea is this card goes to the graveyard, then you pay an additional cost, and you can cast it again from the graveyard. This time, so if the Griff doesn't survive, it goes to the graveyard. Now you cast the Wild Rifter. It says, wait, that's no Griff. At least not anymore. Yeah, that's quite a scary looking creature there. Very fun. All right, so that one creature dies, has a chance to come back. We got Solstice Snackificer. What a series of words. Yeah, I can read most days, but sometimes it's rougher. Tharbine Exorcism. Exile target spirit creature with disturb or enchantment. Okay. Chandra, Teferi, and Armelin sought clues to the Moonsilver Key whereabouts, while Kaya's dispatched the spirits obstructing their path. Oh, cool. So this is why I love reading these storylines. This tells us actually a little bit of a story of what's happening. We learn something here. So these three planeswalkers, these main characters that have been throughout Magic, are trying to look for clues. While they're doing that, we have Kaya dispatching the spirits that would prevent them from finding the clues. So we get the idea that this must be Kaya. All right, I'm confident that that's who that is. And her role is a support to help these three find their journey. That's fun. All right. Startle. You do stuff for the game, but no real text, no story for us to follow. Bramble Armor. A bunch of text. It's going to help build things up. All right, Stuffed Bear. What do they do on this one? It takes a taxidermist of unusual skill to cleanly stuff and mount a bear without severing its primal predatory drive. A little concerning. This makes it sound like the stuffed bear is actually alive still. Fits well with the theme of this particular set. I love that. Very well done there. Falcon Abomination. Yeah, that looks like a terrifying abomination. This is why I cannot mark this as content for kids, because some of these cards have these kind of images on them. The foulest of foul. And yeah, the packs even have, if you didn't notice, they actually didn't have it on this pack. That's kind of interesting. But you start seeing some of the other packs where they'll put 13 plus or, an age on there. Not something you see very often, but yeah, these are very much packs designed for teenagers or older. Blader brand. Okay, I've seen this one before. This is Skursdog. Cultists believe that the right prison purifies a tainted soul before it makes its way to Ormondal. Don't know that. Clearly is a location. I've not heard of it before. I'm picturing it's something in the realm of like Valhalla, maybe. I'm not sure. If you know what that location is, you want to share it in the comments, please do. And then Lambholt Harrier. This Tavalor is no brainless brute. He sends his howling minions to terrorize a village for months. Sleepless nights and fear takes their toll. Only then, when morale is at its worst, does he strike. Sorry. Only then, when morale is at his worst, does he strike. Barnes Village Watch. So this sounds like it's almost like a child's story of a wolf that is kind of around the town, but no one really sees. And then when everyone's super like depressed and sad, having low morale, then the wolf will come out and attack. So kind of a way to maybe scare kids into being positive and a little more upbeat. I'm sure not quite the best way of running a village, but hey. And then Organ Hoarder. This is the kind of thing I definitely expected from the set. The Stitcher died years ago, but her doubtful assistant still keeps the laboratory well stocked. Well, that's terrifying, disgusting, seeming almost like a Frankenstein's monster type story, where, except Frankenstein in that story, related to this card, it'd be like as if Frankenstein died, and they still are bringing organs in case Frankenstein can redo his what? That's quite dark. Well done, yeah. For a scary storyline, they're doing well here. Let's check Patrician Geist. He rides in agitated circles, snapping orders at servants who've long since found their peace. That's kind of interesting. So he's a ghost horse rider who's trying to order servants after they've died. All right. So that's Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Hopefully it's interesting. That was a neat series to look through. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well.